It's so good to be here. I'm so glad you guys are watching this now, either now or later. And I wanted to let you know, I just got back from a couple of days in Stamford, Connecticut, where I was in a room with, I don't know, like over 100, maybe I have no idea of numbers, table after table after table of heart-centered, dedicated entrepreneurs who are all taking their businesses to the next level. And when I say next level, yes, it's profit. Yes, it's bringing in income, making a difference, but it's all about being authentic and having integrity in the work that you do and showing up for the people that you service with love and integrity. And you guys, maybe you see like, oh, it looks like I'm glowing. It's my lights, but it was amazing.
Magical.
And it's magical. So I just want to say I'm so grateful to the Bold Heart community. I'm grateful to the She Breathes community. I'm grateful to the Women's Business Network communities. I'm so grateful that my journey has brought me in contact with people who are the ones you want to meet, the ones you want to work with, the ones that you want to refer. So with that, I'm going to give my quick digital marketing tip of the week. And then I'm going to introduce Lisa for today's topic. My topic of the week, it was talking about email nurture series. But I want to start with I'm going to back up a second. This thing about being with people of mindset, I should just stop there, it was just so great. And if you're not already in some kind of an accelerator program, a growth program, a mindset program, whether it's mine or the ones that I mentioned, I can't tell you the magical, it's mindset and its strategy and its resources. So go with that. Quickly, I'm just going to say a lot of the questions that came up for me when people were talking to me was, what's the one thing that you would do on digital marketing that would make the difference? If social media is just too noisy and it's not where you want to spend your time, but you need to show up, you have something to give to people to help make their lives better, where's the best place to put your digital marketing resources? And I will say, hands down, no doubt, it's email marketing. And even more than that, even if you still are like, to come up with an email, which I help people with, but even if that, what I'm going to tell you is if you put together, some people call it a nurture sequence, others call it auto response. I've heard of them called onboarding programs, but basically somebody gives you their card and you say, would it be okay if I put you on my email list? And they're like, oh, of course. So the thing is, you put them on the list, and right away they get a welcome email. Welcome, so great to meet you, or thanks for signing up for my email list. Here's something you might find useful, and you give them a resource. And they're like, oh, she shares kind of cool stuff. And then a week later, you send something, or however many days later, some people do it every day, every 3 days, I do every week. They get something from you, which is, hey, I hope that resource was useful. Here's the link to it again in case you didn't read it. Here's another thing you might want to know about. So every week for X amount of weeks, you're giving them a resource, you're giving them an insight, you're giving them a little bit of yourself, and you're giving them the idea that this is my zone of genius, this is my special sauce, here's what you can expect if we enter a relationship. And I hope it's useful to you. Take it or leave it. And so they can unsubscribe if they want to, if it's not useful. So email nurture series is kind of where I'm going to be focusing on for the heart-centered entrepreneurs who are dipping their toe into digital marketing. They know they need to reach their people, but aren't totally on board with social media marketing. So thanks for listening to my soapbox, but here's why we're really here today. I want to introduce Lisa Raiche. Lisa is a CPA. Lisa, what does MST stand for?
I have a master's degree in taxation.
Thank you. She's the founder of Bodhi Business Advisors and co-founder of wiseher.com. Bodhi Business Advisors is a boutique business advisory consulting firm supporting entrepreneurs with strategic business, I lost my place, sorry about that, planning and financial modeling, budgets and forecasts. Lisa has worked 15 years as an accountant and a tax planner in public accounting, and she worked with small business owners to help them organize their business books and create comprehensive tax plans. I think you've shifted from that, so I think we're going to be probably talking about the work you're doing now.
Yeah, pretty much.
Lisa's right. Lisa's superpower is the ability to make business finance not so scary, and this is why I love her. Lisa, I'm so glad you're here today.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
What are you going to tell us about pricing for profit?
So pricing tends to be one of the most underutilized profit drivers in a business. So the average business owner really doesn't actually use real research behind their pricing. They tend to price based on emotion, especially in the consulting space and the service space. So a lot of times people will think, oh, nobody will ever pay me to do that. Mm-hmm. And, it's a lot of mindset with pricing, but it's also not knowing who your ideal customer is, not being able to convey your value proposition, and then really not having the right price. Because if you do know who your ideal client is and you do convey your value proposition, what pain are you solving for them, they will buy. But what happens far too often is, our businesses don't know who our customers are. So we're basically throwing spaghetti against the wall, trying to get more customers or discount our prices and things like that. And what happens is you end up putting more effort, more inputs in when you actually try some of the other profit drivers. So the 9 profit drivers are basically getting more sales leads, which is upping your marketing, converting sales leads into customers, that's more sales, getting customers to spend more money, that's more marketing, getting customers to spend more often, more marketing, getting customers to remain customers, that's your customer service arm. There's playing with your variable costs, your fixed costs, and then just making, systematizing everything else. And what people fail to really do in their businesses is actually use their pricing to drive their profits. So what you learn about the other drivers is you're going to have to put some sort of input in. You're going to have to spend marketing dollars. You're going to have to hire a marketing person. You're going to have to hire a sales rep, pay a commission. You have to pay a customer service person, or even various levels of automation and softwares, and all of that costs money. So the first thing that I tend to get from owners when they're not as profitable as they would like to be is, well, I'll just discount my prices. Well, discounting doesn't necessarily get you the result you're looking for, because in many cases, you've just discounted the price. You've probably increased more of your inputs, i.e. you spent more marketing dollars to market a sale, or, you've got a sales rep still out there selling and so on, and you've just reduced your profit. So you didn't get the result that you were looking for. So if you really are looking to increase your profitability in your business, you really need to look at your price, because in most cases you are not charging the right price, because the average business owner actually isn't. The really big thing, especially in the consulting space in the last, say, 10 years or so, is value pricing. And you hear a lot of talk about that. Mm-hmm. Value is in the eye of the beholder, and it really is. And what I value, what you value, what anybody else values can be very different. And that's the reason why you really need to be very firm on who your ideal client is, because in most cases, the value that they see, lives in their idealness for you. So there are other methods to pricing. You'll hear in the retail space, there's going to be cost plus. Traditionally, in the professional space, it was an hourly bill. The reason I found pricing was on my journey to move away from the hourly bill and into a value model. And it was actually one of those things I was like, it became like so amazing, because there's just so much. There's a little bit of, magical, mystical, witchcraftery, especially when you get into the psychology of the pricing. But it's actually incredibly interesting. And there are a number of people who actually specialize in this now, in value pricing. So, again, you're going to know what cost plus is. You have the cost of an item, i.e. a dress from a dress shop. They're going to want a specific markup on that. There's nothing magical about that. In most cases, depending on the industry that you're in, you're going to want your margins to be within your competition, because there is going to be such tight competition on things like that.
I think so many of us are used to that, right? Like, when you go to the store and there's that big clearance rack, that they're still making plenty of money. I think a lot of people that are in my circles they're either solopreneurs, they're service providers, coaches, energy workers, light healers. And so what you're saying is there's a price for a thing, but we're undervaluing the price of our expertise.
Absolutely.
Time. Like, when I think about that, when I was hourly, it was like, yeah, that's an hour, but that doesn't count all of the hours I went to trainings and conferences and all of the money that's spent on tools and my taxes and all of my things too. So how can we, as solopreneurs, service providers, get away from the dollars per hour and get into what you're calling value pricing, which is interesting. I hadn't heard it talked about like that. How do we do that?
When you charge by the hour, in many cases, your customer is now price sensitive, right? So every time they don't want to email you, they don't want to call you, which was a problem that I had. And to find out after the fact they had done something usually was a big mess to clean up. But with the hourly, you're not doing a service to your client. And I think a lot of people think that they are, but you're really doing a disservice, because you're constantly running the clock, in the sense that I've got to get through this. I have to get through this really, really fast so I can finish it. And I don't have to charge them more than 30 minutes. And it's always this and you're not really putting your best efforts into it, your best ideas. You're not really digging deep into maybe your knowledge base in terms of trying to service that client, because there's that ticking clock over there. Because if I spend 3 hours on it, I'm going to have to invoice them for 3 hours. And, are they going to see, are they going to complain that that's too expensive? So I'll kind of put it back into the place of where I come from. So historically in the accounting practice, we charged by the hour for financial statements, bookkeeping, audits, tax returns, and things like that. Over time, you turn over a document, you turn over a tax return to a client, but the client doesn't see what goes into that tax return. When you send me your envelope and there are other envelopes inside that envelope of your stuff that hasn't even been opened from whomever, we're opening envelopes, we're scanning the information because we save it as practitioners so that we have documentation of what we use. Sometimes your information is scribbled on a little sticky tab. Sometimes there's a stack of receipts in there that need to be subtotaled. Clients don't see that when you're preparing their tax return, right? They don't see the work that you put in. So you kind of go to the others, the other spectrum. If say you're a very wealthy person and your annual taxes per year are $1 million, and I walked up to you and I said, I could save you $100,000 per year. What value do you see in that? And the value varies per person. It could be, I'll pay you $10,000 to know that, or to do that for me. I'll pay you $20,000, $30,000. There's value in that. Now, it may have taken me 2 hours to research it or follow-up research it, but there's still value in what I'm bringing to the table. And that's really where the value pricing comes from. I have X amount of years of experience. I've done this and that. So I'm drawing on all those things when I bring that one item to my client. Yes, it took me 2 additional hours to do more research, but it doesn't count all the schooling that I did and all the other experiences I've had and so on. So, and then you further it and you say, well, what if I could save you $100,000 per year for the next 5 years?
Right.
What would you pay for it? So that's really where the basis of the value pricing kind of comes into play.
So for you, it is, right? Because it's money and it's dollars and people can see that. So with coaching, with the services many of us provide, and even with what I do, right? I could show return on investment, but sometimes it doesn't. But for coaching, it is what you're saying. It's about. I didn't mean to interrupt you and make
no,
not
at all.
But that's the thing, is right. It's like, if we're all alone, how do we? And I think it's something we have to think about. And what's the value to your ideal client? So that's when you have to really, I was just looking at mine this morning.
And that's why you need to know who your ideal
right?
client
Like,
is.
here's like, what are their pain points, right? Like I've got a whole list right here. What are their pain points? What can I solve for them?
Because if you're a productivity coach, you know, what value is your client going to see in finally being able to get a couple more hours out of their day that hasn't been flushed down the toilet, and now they could potentially go out and close one more deal, or service one more client, or, you know, put a couple more people in the pipeline, and now you're moving them through your funnel. So there's value in getting that time back, right? For someone who is in the digital marketing space, you know, there's value. There are clients out there that are going to see value in the ability for you to say, provide them with that newsletter series that they know is so crucial to making those touches to their customers, which are vital for them to, you know, keep the pipeline, you know, keep that pipeline kind of flowing and moving, slowly moving people into their funnel, or just people aren't interested and they pass on it. You know, there are people that are going to see value because they can see down the road, it's not today, but 5-6 months down the road, they're going to start to be people that maybe have come through that email series that you created for them.
Exactly.
And therefore, that's going to start to convert to clients. So that's where, as a practitioner, you really need to learn how to kind of create that value and convey to them, this is what I'm going to do. It's not happening tomorrow. You are not going to have your pipeline so stuffed that you're not going to know what to do with these people. But there's value in paying X amount of dollars a month to 5 months down the road now is consistently churning 1 or 2 new prospects, which now could be 1 or 2 more new clients. And that owner needs to see that value. And when they can finally see that, and sometimes it has to be broken down into dollars. Sometimes you have to really break it down. I have a consulting friend who was trying to go to a business, and she was looking to present her services. I said, well, you've got to really look at it the way that they're looking at it in dollars and cents. You know, they have a staff. They're trying to get them more engaged. You know, they're trying to get them not out sick, be more productive, blah, blah. I said, you need to break that down into dollars. What does that mean to them? If you have 5 people on the team, they make X amount of dollars a year. If they're each out 1 sick day per quarter, what does that cost you when they don't come in? Right. You know, and when you start to throw dollars on that for them, then it starts to make sense. You don't want to go all the way to that cheesy place where we've all seen those commercials, you know, come on down for the low price, you know, and it shows you all the things, and, you know, it shows you all the prices, and you're going to get it for $19.99. I mean, you don't want to be that cheesy,
right?
But that's what you're trying to convey to them. This is what I can do for you. This is what I can help you achieve over the next 6, 8, 10 months. Get an hour back a week in the first 3 months. And then I can teach you how to get 2 hours a week back, and then 3 hours. And then what does that do for you now? What can you do in your business in those 3 hours? If, say, you're a productivity coach, what could I do in my business now that I gained 3 hours, 4 hours back? Oh,
correct.
I can get more customers. I can bring in more revenue. I can start to work on that new service offering that I really want to roll out, because I know that I'm going to have great margins on it, and there's great opportunity there, and blah, blah, blah. So you've got to really break it down, sometimes all the way down to the dollars. Like, what is this costing you? And what could this potentially do for you down the road if you were to either get your time back, or you've got more people coming through your digital funnel, or, you know, whatever that is.
Right. One of the things, and I'm still kind of thinking about what you were talking about, package pricing.
That's a really big one, because you'll find it is, there are people who see the value in what you do, but especially in the business world, that in a more B2B format, right? We're not talking B2C.
Right.
But maybe in a more B2B format.
Which most of my clients are, yeah.
Right. There's this hesitation because maybe the investment dollars aren't really there right now. So they're kind of taking a leap of faith. So if you give them 3 packages,
Yeah.
they could potentially come in at the lower one, and then you can move them up to the higher one, because now maybe they've got a little more cash flow and they can in turn make that larger investment. They see the value, but sometimes really initially it's, ooh, I don't have the dollars. But
Right. And what's hard about that too, right? So for instance, and I don't know about other industries, but I think it's the same, where it came to be for me a point of service, because when I was hourly, people would hesitate, as you said, to call me. And then they would not call me. And then they were stuck. And then they were not doing their newsletters, and they were not creating content, and they were not engaging online. And so their business came to not only just a halt, but a back halt, because people had gotten used to seeing them and then didn't see them and weren't reaching out to them. And it made me so sad. We'd worked on a 6-month calendar. We'd worked on all this content. I'm like, all right. And they're like, say, all right, I'll take over it. And so to me, I feel like even though I did that work, I did them a disservice by allowing them to have me on an hourly basis versus offering something that would be comfortable to them, that they would know, put it in their budget, that would support them for 6 months.
Absolutely. And that's one of the things especially from the place that I come from, I come from a finance place. I want to be able to put a number in a budget. I want to be able to help a client build out a budget. So coming from an hourly place, I could work on it 2 hours this month, but I could work on it 20 hours next month.
Yes.
You'd choke if you got that 20-hour bill,
Right.
but if I know generally what I'm going to do for you, and I can split it over, in your case, 6 months, and say over the 6 months, this is what I'm going to do for you. This is what you're going to get out of it. These are the results that we're looking to get out of it for you, and so on. When you've reached that ideal client and they can't do their own digital marketing themselves anymore, they don't have the time. There aren't enough arms and legs, because that's what happens typically with the solopreneurs. That's really the first plateau, is the arms and legs plateau. They run out of them. They don't have enough arms and legs to service clients, to go out and meet people, to do their own marketing, social media, newsletter, whatever, all of that. And then suddenly they hit that plateau, and then they can't make any more money. So, it's 6 to 1. It's like, it's that catch-22, right?
Right.
So if you can convey to them, because they are your ideal client, they'll now know, oh, I really need this. I do, because now I can do this, this, and this in my business, instead of, how much time are you putting into doing your own newsletter?
Right.
How much time are you doing, when I begin to have conversations with clients about, when they can start to bring people on, and when they feel that they can maybe at least bring in other processes that are automated, that's the first thing. Like, where can you free up things that you shouldn't be doing in your business, that you can have someone else in your business do for you? And that's where the value pricing comes in, and in the digital marketing space, in working with a coach, whatever it is, this is the value we're going to bring to you. We're going to do this, 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 and this for you. You don't have to worry about that. Instead of spending 5 hours doing a newsletter, which, it'll take you forever. You mess up the font. There's 5 fonts on there, right? The pictures are all disarrayed. I mean,
the links are broken. Yep.
Exactly. Visually looks horrible. I can help you convey to your client that you're not all mishmash and you're not all over the place. So you're organized and you have a nice, clean newsletter, and you get those automated emails after you came to the page and say, hi, good to see you coming to the page, and blah, all of that. I can do that for you and help you push stuff to your funnel so that you can go out and do whatever it is you do. If you're a coach yourself, you can go out and coach more people, or whatever it is. If you're a great salesperson, you can go out and sell more so that you get more deals or more projects in. And, they all kind of go hand in hand, but you're going to know who your price sensitive people are, who your tire kickers are, who your shoppers are. They'll never be your ideal client.
Exactly. I was just going to say that not everybody is your ideal client.
And that's where, you go back to that marketing place where ideal client is so key, because the value proposition and the pricing sit on top of that. So if you don't know who that person is, you could have the most gorgeous packages, the most amazing packages, But if you're throwing it at everyone, everyone's not your customer.
Yeah.
So it's basically spaghetti hitting the wall and you're like, ooh, a couple of them fell. Hey, here we go. And they probably aren't going to be your ideal client. They're going to be the ones that are going to be PIAs, depending on how you're pricing, how you structure it. You should be auto charging. Rule number one, auto charge, don't invoice. But, are you waiting for payment? And so, all of that goes into who that ideal person is for you. And I think that's where a lot of the disconnect comes in the service industry and the consulting industry, because it also comes back to the mindset place. Well, nobody will ever pay me to do that.
Right. So what I'm hearing you say, and then maybe we have a couple more points before we wrap up, is that it's important to know who your ideal client is, so that you're not marketing to everybody, and that your ideal client and your packages come together so that you have an control over what's happening. And then, as you said, that's leads, and then it's more customers, which means you're increasing money, and then you have to do things even more often. And I would imagine that maybe, I'm looking at the points that you had talked about, we need to spend time looking at all of our different costs within our business. You said variable, fixed costs.
Oh, absolutely.
And somehow systemize.
You want to at least, when you create your pricing, you want to at least cover your cost, right? A lot of people don't even know how much it costs them to do whatever it is they do. Well, if you don't know, right? If you don't even know what that is, you could be out there charging a number that isn't even covering your costs.
Yes.
And so you want to make sure that at the least you've got to know what your dollars what your dollars out are first, and you build your value on top of that. So there's a disconnect a lot of times with that too. It's, oh, well, this is what I charge. Well, what is it costing you? And then they start to really look at it and they're like, oh, I have all of that cost in there. And that's where I come in from, where my frustration side comes in with clients, is they don't know where their costs are at all. They don't know what it costs them on a monthly basis to flick the lights on and do what it is they do. So it's almost like, well, how did you even create your pricing? Because you don't even know that it costs you X amount of dollars to, walk in the door, flip the lights on, and flip the computer on. So,
well, that's why I'm meeting with you next week.
Yes.
Lisa, Maritza wants to know, you mentioned that there are value pricing specialists. What is that? And do you have resources on that idea?
Yeah, so there are a couple of people who've kind of, in the last 10 or so years, that have really come out, they specialize it, right? They're thought leaders in value pricing. One of those gentlemen is by the name of Ron Baker. I will say that it's almost the material's almost too heady. I actually studied under a gentleman by the name of Mark Wickersham. He's based out of the United Kingdom. He has been, I call him like a devotee of Ron Baker for probably about 20 years now. And I learned my pricing, I actually did pricing consulting with him last year. I learned all about that last year. And there are more people that are specializing in it, because on top of the value pricing, there's actually psychology of the pricing. So how you convey the price. So the packages, right? Your package is going to be from the left to the right or top to bottom, and you want your premium package over here on the left or on the top. So that's the first thing you see. And then people move down or across, so that you get them invested and start to get them invested into all of the features and all the things that you can offer them. And then if they have to go with one of the lower ones, they will. There's psychology of there's menu psychology. There are reasons that the menus look the way that they do today. If you go to most restaurants, they've now taken the dollar sign off the menu. If you look at the prices, the dollar sign's gone, right? There's a reason, because the dollar sign is associated with spending money. So now you want to get people away from spending money at the restaurant by just taking the dollar sign away.
So interesting.
Years ago, I don't know if you ever remember, in the restaurants, you would see, you'd say that the item, maybe a description, and then it would be ... all the way over to the price.
Yeah.
Well, the dots are gone now, Because what happens is the eyes lead across to, and all they're going to do is price shop on that menu, right? They're going to bang across and they're going to look at the prices. And they also don't put the prices all the way to the right-hand side, because people will skim the edge for the cheapest price.
Yeah.
So now you start to, it's not just the value pricing, but it's how the prices are visually conveyed. It's things like anchoring to a larger price. You go into a place, in Mark Wickersham's training, one of the things that he uses as a point all the time is there is a champagne bar at Heathrow. And at that champagne bar, there is a bottle of champagne on the menu that costs 6,000 Great British pounds. So when you see that on the menu and then you see a $200 bottle of champagne, you're like, oh, wow, this is great. It's a miracle. And then they sell. So there's all of that goes into the price. So it's not just your price, it's how you visually see it. Consultants, you shouldn't see prices on your website. You should take them down. That's a big no-no. It's in the context of how you see it, right? If you walk into a local convenience store and you see a $50 bottle of wine, you're going to buy a bottle of wine from, $50 bottle of wine from there. You'd be like, it's full of dust or whatever. No. But if you go into a wine shop and it's beautifully displayed and there's lights and maybe somebody's walking around with pickies and snacks, yeah, you're like, oh, $50 for a bottle of wine, not a big deal.
So it's all in context, right?
Yes.
It's all in the context. We're coached in Bold Heart, we're coached to have 3 package levels for whatever the service is.
Yep.
3 package levels, like the premier.
Yep. Your premium.
The middle one, which is pretty much, what everybody uses.
Where you want them to usually be.
And then this is like, the last one is like the bare minimum.
Get you in the door.
Great service, but not with the add-ons. And that's, I think that's brilliant. And then it's just a matter of doing everything else that you talked about, which is looking at what are your costs and what your things. Yeah.
Yeah. It's visual. It's what does it cost you? And then it's visually, what do they see? What do they visually see on your website? When you meet with them and you one-to-one, what are you visually giving them? What are they seeing? How are they seeing it? If the first price they see is the low, low, low price, then you anchor them to that low price, and then they think everything else is that low. So when they want everything but the kitchen sink, right? Think about if you've ever watched an episode of House Hunters and when they go into those spec houses, right?
Gosh, yes.
Okay. And their budget is $350, but the spec house is really, with all the doodads and the knickknacks and everything else, is $450, right? Because now they've got you. They were, I have to have the Carrara marble and I have to have the soaking tub, and it's the same thing.
Yeah.
It's just you have to learn to do those things in your business, just in whatever it is you do. You have to get them wanting the Carrara marble.
Yes.
You know, and then at the least, if they can't afford the Carrara, you know what? They've come in the door and, they've got the porcelain knockoff and they're working with you. And now if you can help them get to that next place with whatever, with coaching, with digital marketing, whatever, then they'll be open to, and they'll see the value in what you do. And now, working up to the next package won't be that big of a deal.
Right. Like getting them on a discovery call, right? Like helping have the conversation, again, identifying their pain points and creating value from that.
And you'll also know if they're a price shopper on a discovery call, and you won't waste any more time.
Right. Making it really clear.
Absolutely.
So good, Lisa. How can people work with you?
They can reach out to me. They can reach out to me at lisa.raiche@bodhibusinessadvisors.com. You're welcome to connect with me on LinkedIn. I don't have a name like Susie Smith, so you should be able to find me pretty easily. And I'm always looking to work with owners who are looking to grow their businesses and be more profitable. I love working with entrepreneurs and solopreneurs, especially those that are looking to make that next step, where they're really looking to start to scale and grow their business. Not everybody wants to be Walmart or Amazon. Some just want to get to a point where maybe they have a handful of people that work for them. They're seeing X amount of clients a year. They have flexibility in their life where they can go to, kids' baseball games if they need to, or, they're able to do what they want to do, but they love what they do and they're passionate about what they do. So those are the people I love to work with. And in April, I will be launching a group advisory program to work with more solopreneurs.
Oh, fabulous.
Yeah, because I really, they're the ones that I really enjoy working with the most, because when they finally get in and they start to do what they do and they can see that they can, in fact, like make it a business, just helping them get to that next place where they stay, they don't get so, because it's a roller coaster.
Oh,
You
yeah.
go up and down.
Oh, yeah.
And so for me to actually help them understand that it is just a roller coaster, you'll go through some peaks and valleys, and help them understand their numbers, because so many of them don't. So
Nope.
many have no clue what they're spending to get what they're trying to get, and
Yep.
and so on. And so, oh, is that you?
Yeah, we're all of us.
That's you. Okay. Yeah, and just helping them to, slowly understand and make plans. Right. So many of them, you'll hear me say this. So many of them will spend more time planning their next vacation than they will in their business, and that's a reality. They don't make any plans, and so helping them just create plans, but understanding all those plans have a cost associated with them. There are things that you want to do in them. What's the investment going to be for that? And what are you going to get out of it? And helping them to just really look at those types of things, and then being conscious about where they're spending their money. So yeah, that's what I'll be doing starting in April, but
I'll put your website and your email information when I post the video, so that people can,
okay. Yeah.
And they can just call you and like have a discovery call kind of
Absolutely.
thing.
Yeah, I'll do a quick call with them to see whether, not everybody's same here. Not everybody is the right person for me.
Right.
So I definitely put some time into determining whether someone is an ideal client, because you're going to work with me. You're going to talk to me. You're going to spend some time with me, and it's got to be I mean, how about you? But for me, it's got to be a chemistry thing with clients.
Exactly.
Because you will be hearing from me. I'm not the person who's going to be kind of hiding out in the closet. So yeah, I like to talk to them first.
Anything else that we can cover before we move on with our day?
There's tons of stuff.
There's
tons of pricing. I mean, I did it over a year, so there's tons there. But you'll start to see how all the major brands, what they do, how Apple's great at it, Starbucks is great at it. You can see how the premium brands do it. So you can start to take those little tips and tricks that all of the real major brands are using and use them in your business. It doesn't mean you're trying to trick anybody. It just, you want to get paid for what it is that you do and what you're good at. Right. And you just need to be able to convey that value to your clients.
And one last thing too, I remember you told me, you were the first one that told me about the book Profit First. And since then, like I'm hearing it, listening to podcasts. Amy Porterfield had a wonderful podcast with Mike Michalowicz. And then I just heard another one with, the guy who does Story Brand.
Oh, Donald Miller.
Was it Donald Miller? I think it was Donald Miller. But we're covering that book, Profit First, in the Rise Above the Noise Facebook group. This
must read for business owners.
So I'm super excited because you introduced that to me, and you started the ball rolling, and now like it seems like, so we're going to go like not page by page, but like excerpt by excerpt through the book in the Rise Above the Noise Facebook group.
Oh, good. Okay.
Forward to a lot of discussion. So I hope you'll hop in there and give us some of your insights.
I will. It is a fabulous book. I recommend it to clients. I've rolled out the principles of it with some clients. I've got a couple of my clients that are doing it, very conscious of where they're spending their money in months where they historically would not have been profitable. For one of my clients this past November tends to be a tough month for them. They showed a profit that month.
Wow.
Because of Profit First.
Yeah. I'm doing the app. There's an app with it too that you can use. YNAB.
Oh, wonderful.
You know YNAB.
YNAB. Yes.
You need a budget, so we'll talk about that more too. Lisa, thank you so much.
You're very welcome.
Maritza, thank you for coming.
Maritza, good to meet you.
You guys have a great weekend. I'll see you both soon.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.